This is All Roads Lead To with Al and Jayné.
The place where we share and talk about the people, places, and passions
that have impacted us on the road of life. We are back and we are talking about the people in the arts and music and television and movies who've impacted us on the road of life, who did not finish the journey with us, but started out with us in 2020.
Yeah, and so we just mentioned, I think, the trailblazing music feats of Little Richard, and I also think about Charley Pride, who passed, just a renowned country singer.
Yeah.
One of only 3 Blacks in the Grand Ole Opry.
Say it again.
One of only 3 Blacks in the Grand Ole Opry. He was inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame as late as 2000.
Wow.
But he was, after Elvis, RCA's best-selling artist. Coming after, the only artist after Elvis to be the best-selling in those times. And he just really was transcendent. And I think I always have had a love of country music. I think in that the narrative so remind me of so much of the music that I think I, probably will listen to first, which is often gospel and R&B, and the sense of like the narratives. I love the storytelling. We talk about Bill Withers, but there's something central, I think, about at the core of country music, of gospel, of soul music. It's those stirring stories and lyrics that just get to the heart of who we are and the things that we go through. And I think that that's the type of music that Charley Pride, coming from Mississippi, and his family was sharecroppers, and you can hear that in that music, and it is soul stirring. And so there's a lot of country music that I really enjoy, and I think that's why.
I think it's those blues roots that are there. I remember a couple of years ago, we heard a lecture by just a brilliant band, one of my favorite musicians, Shelton Kilby III, talking about gospel and blues music and how, especially from the experience of the blues, how all of that comes through. So with Charley Pride, definitely it comes through as well.
Yes. And so I think also some of my favorite duets, I think, in the country genre have Kenny Rogers in them. And so Kenny Rogers also passed.
Kenny Rogers passed this year. I remember Kenny Rogers for a couple of things, and this will be more on the light side.
Okay.
His restaurant, Kenny Rogers Roasters, they had good chicken.
Okay.
Real good chicken. And they would have that light that would light up when the chicken was ready, almost like the
Krispy Kreme.
Yes, like the Krispy Kreme.
Okay.
But Kenny Rogers had these great songs, like you said, the duets with Dolly Parton.
Right.
My friend Myron Edmonds, he'll probably laugh when he hears this. We used to sing with other people and everything. You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. Kind of like in our choir voices and everything.
Right. A little mockery.
Yes. And he also had this great song. He did Something Inside So Strong.
Yes.
Was one of his songs that, I don't know if he wrote it, but he kind of helped to popularize it. Vanessa Bell Armstrong ended up doing a version of it as well. But Kenny Rogers, another one that we lost this year.
Yes. And so, I think staying with music and music influences, Ellis Marsalis Jr.
Yes.
The patriarch.
Yes, the patriarch of the Marsalis family. And we know Wynton Marsalis, artistic director at the Lincoln Center, Jazz on Lincoln Center. And that's what you think of him, and for some of the compositions that he's done, performances that he's done. You think of Branford Marsalis, who was the band leader, who was the original band leader on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno.
Yes.
There, and the other sons that were there, they formed the Marsalis Family Quartet.
Right.
Each of them were just skilled musicians in their own various instruments. But Mr. Marsalis was a teacher.
Yes. Dillard trained.
Yeah, Dillard trained.
University.
Yes, Dillard trained. Harry Connick Jr.
Yes, was one of his students.
And went on to record just about 15 or so albums, all of his own.
Right.
So we remember Mr. Ellis Marsalis, who passed away in the year 2020.
And speaking of jazz greats, we have McCoy Tyner.
Yes. A name people might not be too familiar with.
But who was a part of the John Coltrane quartet. He won about, I think it was 5 Grammys. They really one of the most influential, many will say jazz pianists of the 20th century. Yeah. And so it's just, such a rich legacy. And I think as you're describing, jazz is American music.
It is.
It's really one of, that really just, and it just involves so many, I think, of the core elements of what we're talking about with music in terms of coming from the heart, the gifting, and the way the different instruments kind of each have play their own part and their own role. And it's almost like a story that's being told through instruments, which I think is just so amazing. And I think those blues and jazz roots sometimes with that fusion that we hear. And so just to give a nod to that, I think sometimes that music is not, at the fore as it has been in times past. But I think, that's a part of any music that we're hearing today has some traction in those early forms of American music. And I think we really you can't lose sight of that, and want to just give acknowledgement to those who've helped to spur the next generation. And
with the next generation, there's a line from one person to the next, to one influence to the next. And one of the major influencers, at least during our, I guess, can we say teenage years and early adult years, was Andre Harrell.
It's true.
Just the artist that he was able to bring to the forefront. You think of Mary J. Blige. You think of, I don't want to name names, all the names and everything, but Andre Harrell, just a major influence on hip hop and R&B music, especially during the 90s, early 2000s. Yes. Surprisingly passed away this year, and so we want to remember him as well. Shifting gears just for a moment to television, one of the people who we grew up watching on television, and so many people will remember her for her one signature role. That is the one who is a namesake of yours, Jayné Dubois.
That's right. Sassy Will.
Yeah, Willona. Willona Woods. On Good Times. That's what she's most known for. She passed away this year. But the thing I will remember her for is she is the one who is singing the theme song to the Jeffersons. You
introduced me to that. I did not know that.
Yes.
That is really impressive.
And she is singing that song.
Yes, she is. And she really was like a triple threat.
Yes.
The music, dance, and acting.
Yeah.
She was a triple threat. And that was impressive. That was an unknown fact by me. So.
Unknown fact. So remember her and her artistry. Sticking with television for a second, there are certain things that kind of we grew up doing in our household and you grew up doing in your household, and with us getting married, that we merged together.
True.
With our household. One of those, I'm going to come to this first one, was, and we didn't know this until we started talking. And again, it's kind of how all roads lead to. Yeah. We were ABC News family growing up.
ABC News, Peter Jennings. And I didn't realize there's a lot of Canadian personalities that were on news. And Peter Jennings was, if it happened in the world, we heard it from Peter Jennings.
Yeah, same here.
If there was a news bulletin, our family got it from ABC, and generally it was Peter Jennings. And so that it's so true. So it was, local news at 6, Peter Jennings at 6:30, and then on the weekends we would watch,
Carol Simpson, who was host of World News Tonight.
Yes, World News Tonight. That's right, on Sundays. That's right. And we used to watch the news magazines, in essence, as they were called, before football.
Yes.
And so we could go down the line on some of those as well. But another one in the evenings would start to be like a news magazine that really kind of opened up some of what we see in our current kind of 24-hour cycle of cable news was 2020.
Yes. And Hugh Downs was one of the hosts of 2020 along with Barbara Walters. And he passed away this year, but was always a person who I noticed was very short. He didn't have long phrases with his words, but just was very kind of to the point, said what needed to be said. always, again, I guess it goes without saying the same as articulate, but there was a certain flavor to his articulation that always impressed me. So we'll remember him.
Yeah, and I didn't know that he had the world record for most most television appearances that Regis Philbin later broke. But staying with ABC News, I think one of the things that I start to sense even as you age is that there are different things that are in the world that people who have passed would no longer be able to recognize. Mm-hmm. And there's a few things that to me are still bridges between now and the past. And so when we had Thanksgiving parade, I thought about that's something that's still carried on that I remember my grandmother watched, my mother watched. And, there's less and less of those types of things. The Rose Bowl, I guess, is another. But there's less of those types of experiences as you see kind of like soap operas fading. They aren't what they used to be. We only had a few channels, in those times. And now we look at what we're looking at. But one show that I remember my father introducing me to that he would always watch with his mother would come on that same. So after World News at 6:30, then you would have 7 o'clock.
This is Jeopardy.
Right. And it was us. And so every night, Jeopardy. Yeah. And so, you have Wheel of Fortune that still, is on. But Jeopardy was to Alex Trebek. Yeah. And Alex Trebek was Jeopardy.
Yes.
Consistent, classy, brilliant, engaging, another just force. And he really was... He was Jeopardy, and it was just such. And I always felt excited if I got something right. It just made you feel a little smarter, watching Jeopardy. But my dad always watched Jeopardy with my grandmother, and that's something, that they always had together. And did you see this on Jeopardy? Or there was a question that came up with something that was familiar to our background or to something that had transpired, or just a brilliant win, or somebody who came in from the behind, kind of just great times I think of, and just a constant in my childhood growing up was watching Jeopardy.
Absolutely. And one of the things I am grateful for that we were able to introduce Alex Trebek and Jeopardy to our kids.
That's right.
As well. So it's kind of like I'm not trying to talk like a total old guy or anything like that, but to know that it was Alex Trebek was the same guy that we knew. Yes. He hadn't kind of gone on some tangent or was doing something kind of off the chain, or this is the old Jeopardy versus the new Jeopardy. It was the same show, pretty much. And he was the same person. We were able to introduce the same person that we knew at 7 o'clock every night. After ABC World News Tonight, we were able to introduce that same person to our children, kind of much like Mr. Rogers.
Very much.
Very much. So, again, tribute and salute to the one and only Alex Trebek.
Absolutely. I think just staying with where we get our news and news personalities, we think about so many of the presidential debates.
Oh, man.
Were hosted by Jim Lear.
Yeah.
Who passed away.
Yeah. A staple on PBS News.
PBS NewsHour, Gwen Ifill.
Yeah, with Gwen Ifill, and he ended up passing the baton on. But again, that staple as really a voice, I guess what we're seeing in our politically charged environment where it has to be either one side or the other. And so many people are looking for what, if it plays in Peoria. If it can kind of go down the middle. But it's with Jim Lear, I never felt he was going down the middle. He was just asking a good question.
I love it. I think that's true.
He wasn't trying to give one side or the other. He never made it about him. I remember reading a tribute about him and how he said, especially in the presidential debates, you just kind of need to get out of the way.
Yes.
And what he did was allow those who were on the debate to really be the focus of it. And as we saw with these 2020 debates, oh my goodness, we have all roads lead to 2020 debates. But, and not to compare personalities, because I think of the people who are the moderators, because everybody has a right to be their own individual. But he was a guy who just kind of let the debate be the star of the show and not him as the moderator.
And maybe we were slightly naive, but I do believe that in an era that he really was at the helm, there was less journalism and media was at least more desirous, and I think pretty successful at being separate from politics, and so that you didn't have to know the leanings of a media personality, that they were reporting facts.
Yeah.
And I do think, and as you're saying, that their goal was to be a conduit and not to be a part of the rancor of politics. And I'm sure that's challenging. And I think looking back at it now, I think there were, some that were more liberal leaning, more conservative leaning. But I think all in all, there was still a desire to have like a journalistic ethic of being fair and being removed in a sense from the rancor.
That's true.
And so, so Jim Lear is one who we've lost.
Yes. And, as we kind of move on, kind of to those who made us smile, those who made us laugh. One of those who passed away this year was Carl Reiner, legendary comedian, father of Rob Reiner, who ended up starring on All in the Family, directing many movies. Carl Reiner actually was one of the people who started the Dick Van Dyke Show.
Right.
And was kind of the man behind the scenes with that.
I read an interesting quote that he made, and I don't want to, I'll just kind of paraphrase it, that in essence he was saying, entertainment is a way to make a living, but you still need to be able to have a family to go back to. It should be, certain hours. I think it was even like an 8 to 12, but that your family is still what you go back to. And I think that is, I think a beautiful description of this is it's work, and that if you could do it and you love it, but it doesn't overtake still the things that you prioritize most. And it is a way to make a living and to, make a life for your family. And it does. And I think in that respect, it doesn't become who you are. And I think that was just a really, interesting centering that I think he offered. And it reflects, I think, even the work and some of the influences that he, brought to television.
Absolutely. And one of the people who just made me laugh every time I saw him, Jerry Stiller.
Yes, brilliant, just genius.
I mean, the guy was just
hilarious.
Oh my goodness, a bag full of laughs all the time. Especially his work on Seinfeld, which was his kind of like towards the end of his career. I also loved him on King of Queens.
Yes,
as well. He and his wife and Mira had formed kind of like a comedy duo.
Okay.
And just, if you ever get a chance to see some of Jerry Stiller stuff, especially stuff on Seinfeld, I mean, are you saying you want a piece of me? Is what he said to Elaine, and the whole thing with Festivus. Just classics.
Yes.
And so we remember Jerry Stiller and son Ben Stiller, comedian and actor.
And the Meet the Fockers.
Yes. Oh my goodness. That was all time funny. All time
to
funny.
see them working together.
Yes. Yes. We also want to remember in 2020 a few more who started the journey with us but did not end the journey with us. One of those is in the person of James Lipton.
Yes.
Who is most known, at least to people of our generation, as the host of Inside the Actors Studio. And had so many guests on there. You got a chance to kind of get behind the scenes and learn some things that you didn't learn from, I guess, seeing them in their character portrayals on television. But he was able to get some things out of there.
It's so true. And I think one of the things, I'm so amazed now how close and personal in a sense celebrities are with Instagram pages and just kind of chronicling different, vlogging their vacations or different, experiences. And a lot of it's scripted to script to some degree, but you just still get much more access and you can see them. But at the time, I think what was so great about Inside the Actor Studio is that you got to hear celebrities in their own words and kind of hear interviews that weren't necessarily in publicity or promotion of a project, but just to hear them talking. And he was so great to me at opening people up.
Yes.
And so I just thought he had such a, phenomenal gift really for interviewing and for really, I think, just getting, especially I think often it was really impressive to see it for those who had kind of been a little bit stoic or a little bit distanced with media, and to really see them kind of their personalities, kind of unfold even over the course of the interview.
And it's amazing right now, as I've heard somebody say, the gatekeepers are gone. So now you don't have to go through a publicist to get to your favorite celebrity now, you can dial them up on Instagram. You can reach out to them through so many ways on social media. So kind of a tribute to a time that has gone past, but most of all, somebody who did it great on Inside the Actors Studio. And speaking of actors,
one of my favorites, the original James Bond, the voice, the presence of Sean Connery.
Sir Sean Connery.
Yes. Oh my goodness. That really, I think he's one of those actors too. For me, I didn't know him. I think they said his first portrayal of Bond was in Dr. Oz.
Dr. No.
Dr. No. Thank you.
1962.
What I got? So yeah, Dr. No, 1962. So that's before our time, thankfully, on some level. So I didn't see him necessarily at that stage, but just to see him over time, he just aged so, I thought, just so impressively, and just became, I think, almost more noble to me on some level, or just, but it's just, I just always was so impressed. I think it was the voice and his stage presence, but always enjoyed him. The Hunt for Red October was one of my favorites. Really, really one of my favorite actors.
I really like what he did in Entrapment. With Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Yes, that was
the latter half
level
of his catalog, but still, I think an excellent portrayal and performance that he gave.
Yes, next level, absolutely. So that's a major loss.
Yes. So tribute, hail, and farewell to Sir Sean Connery. Well, we just talked about James Lipton and Inside the Actors Studio, and one of the things that was kind of the centerpiece and one of the hallmarks of Inside the Actors Studio was the questions that James Lipton would give to the actors at the end of the interview, and kind of looking up how he kind of got there. Actually, his 10 questions came from a French novelist who actually adapted those questions from another French artisan, so to speak, who actually had 20 questions. This brother had 10 questions that he developed when he was 13 and another 10 that he developed when he was 20. So Lipton's is kind of, what do you want to call it? Just a kind of coming together of those two lists. So you want to do that?
All right, let's do it. We want to do 5 and 5?
Let's do 5 and 5.
All right. So I'll start off with, what's your favorite color?
My favorite color, I would have to say, that's a tough one.
See, I thought that would be tough for you.
That's a tough one, but I'll go with blue.
Today. Would it be different if I asked you tomorrow?
It depends. If I have time to think about it, maybe it might be different.
Because I've known you to say different colors over these course of years.
Yeah.
But blue. Any shade of blue or just blue?
Navy blue.
Navy. All right. We're going to keep it pushing. All right. Who are your heroes? One real, one fictional.
Wow. Who are my heroes? One real, one fictional. I would say, and I've said this, when I ask this question in a different context, my heroes are those who survived the Middle Passage. Those are my heroes. Wow. Among others, but really, those are my heroes. For those who survived the Middle Passage, and there's no disrespect or really taking down of anybody who did not, but those who survived, those are my heroes.
Wow. Okay, you have a fictional hero?
Fictional hero. I guess I would say, for the sake of time and conversation, I'd probably say Spider-Man.
Okay, all right. What's your motto?
My motto is, let's make it happen.
Okay, let's make it happen. So the next question would be, who is your favorite musician?
Wow, who is my favorite musician? Quincy Jones.
Good one. And then last,
Stevie Wonder.
Yeah, there's so many. Outside of your current profession, what profession would you like to attempt?
Wow, outside of my current profession, what profession would I like to attempt? I would like to be a university president.
Okay. All right. Those are my 5.
Okay. All right. Are you ready for the big 5? All right. This is the All Roads Lead to 5 coming from Al. Okay. Your favorite grade in school?
My favorite grade in school? 4th grade. Miss Brown's 4th grade.
Okay. Favorite place to go to relax?
The beach.
The food that you like the most?
Oh my. It's probably going to be a dessert. Food I like the most? My favorite type of food? It's food I like the most. I think it'll be blueberry pie.
Okay. Person who you'd like to meet that you've never met before?
I've been asked this before, and this is living or someone from the past.
Well, for the sake of conversation, yes, either or.
The first time I answered this, I had to think about it again. I really want to meet Charles Hamilton Houston. He, to me, is like the mastermind and like the genius behind the civil rights movement and so much of the strategy. And I just really would love to meet him. And, Howard, he really was the mentor of Thurgood Marshall. So much of, So I really think Charles Hamilton Houston. There's several others, but he's definitely towards the top of my list. Yeah.
So Charles Hamilton Houston.
Yes.
Favorite holiday?
Thanksgiving. Yes.
Okay, that's our 5.
All right.
And so as we get ready to say goodbye for today's episode, again, we're going to continue our conversations and remember those who have made an impact on us who did not finish the journey with us in 2020. But we want you to continue the journey with us as we are on all socials, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We're even on Alexa. And so you can join us then. And so I'm looking forward to the next time.
Absolutely. I'm glad to join you. This has been great. And I'm looking forward to just, acknowledging and remembering.
We'll see you next time.
We are so glad to share our podcast with you. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and on social media.
So please listen, share, and tell a friend about All Roads Lead To with Al and Jayné, the place where we talk about the people, the places, and the passions that have impacted us along the road of life.